Stop recording. Checkbox checked. Nashville,
All
Tennessee,
right,
United
hello
States.
everybody, and welcome back to BBI Pilots. I am your host, as always, glad to be here with you. I hope everybody's doing all right today. Hoping my audio is good and loud. I think it is.
Yep.
I need a
Yep.
better way to
Your
monitor
audio's perfect.
it. Anyway, they got Brandon here with me as always. He's always in the corner somewhere. Brandon, how you doing, buddy?
That's me. I'm good. I'm good. Happy Memorial Day to everybody.
So, you're hearing my airplane in the background, but I'm actually not going to be recording the flight. I wanted to come on and basically talk about a couple things. That conversation that I've seen, and there's been some questions, and so I wanted to share my opinion on a couple of different things, and there was a couple questions that I wanted to answer for some of the viewers. So we're going to start with the questioning. If you've been a follower of mine for a while, you can
Taskbar. Folder view list. RS Games Client. Restream chat 707.
obviously, send a
Locky button
message.
registered. Pre-part 3D app. Locky button registered.
The
Pre-part
page
3D
isn't.
registered. Vehicle.
I don't like messing with the page whenever, uh, going through it or whatever, because it's accessible, but it's not. It's kind of mixed on the page itself.
Right.
I don't got the chat page right in front of me, so you guys can leave messages in the comment section. I'll look at them and then I'll answer them again at another time. All right. First question. Let me get over here to it.
All right, I'm back.
So the first one said, and we got Andy here with us as well. All right. So
Andy's here. Josh will be back in a minute too.
Yeah. All right. So the first question is, John, I know you've been flying in the sim for quite a while now, definitely over a year for sure. And I know that you've also been on vatsim quite a few times with Declan and other people as well. I know that there's been flights with you and other people as well. Here is my question. When flying on vatsim, what would you say the most important areas are for being able to fly on vatsim and be successful with taking off and landing at your destination? All right. This is kind of a ballpark question because there's a lot of things that you need to be aware of. There's a lot of things that you need to make sure that you're paying attention to. I'm not going to say that you need to be, someone that's been simming for 2 years, because you don't. You could be a brand new pilot, and if you're good enough, you could fly on vatsim. Vatsim really, it's not that hard to fly on vatsim, you guys. It's all about being able to communicate. Okay, and now they've got programs where if you don't want to do voice, you can use this other program. I forget the name of it. And if someone else,
Pro ATC.
No. It's
No.
I can't think of the name of it. I've got the program somewhere, but other people have to have that same program in order for you to talk to them. So if that ATC doesn't have that program, you're not going to be able to talk to them through chat with that program. You'd have to do it the regular way, which is okay. You can do it that way. You can communicate through chat. It doesn't have to be audio. If anybody ever told you that it did, well, I'm here to correct them, because it does not have to be audio. Do you guys think that there's pilots out there do you think there's no pilots in the world that can't hear or have trouble hearing?
Oh, absolutely not. There are plenty of pilots out there that have trouble hearing or can't hear at all.
It's recommended to be able to talk to them, and you should get good at being able to hear what they're saying, because
Nashville, Tennessee, United States.
that's the
5.9
thing. If you
nautical
come
miles.
in VATSIM and you've never practiced like listening to them, you might have a hard time understanding what they're saying, because some will say it really quick. Okay, others will say
Oh,
it
yeah.
normal pace, but others will say it quick. Here's what I'm going to tell you with that, and this is what I did. This is how I did it. When I got on VATSIM, I would have a notepad opened up, and so whenever I said, such and such requests an IFR clearance to Miami, when I say that, they're going to come back and they're going to give you the clearance, or they're not. Either case, when they come back and tell you, that you've been cleared, they're going to give you a set of directions. Some might even give you, some might say like a name of like, you have Delta 1 or whatever. Like, whatever they tell you, you write it down. Write it down. Because they're also going to give you your frequency. They're going to say, okay,
Squawk code.
And squawk code.
Mm-hmm.
So they give you frequency 123.7. Write it down. Squawk code 2000. That's for Unicom, so you're not going to get that. Okay, they're going to give you a different number. They will not give you 2000. Okay? Someone had told
No.
me...
He'll also not give you 7,700.
Right.
And you will not get 7,500.
Exactly. Someone tried to say before that, they can give you 2,000 if they choose to. No, they're not. 2,000 is for Unicom.
They're not going to give you that.
And Unicom only. You guys, if you go back far enough on our videos here, you're going to find a video that me and Brandon did a long time ago on VATSIM.
Oh, yeah.
You can watch that too. I don't even know where to tell you to look. It's way back. But write the information down, because once they give you that information, you're going to key back up, and you're going to say, let's just say, okay,
You're going to read it back to them.
Delta 118, climb to, I don't know. They're going to give you an altitude to climb to.
Climbed it. Yeah, so they'll say something like, climbed to 10,000, expect flight level 320 10 minutes after departure.
Well, hold on though, because they don't always say 10,000. I don't want you guys to think that they're always. They might give you. Well, some airports, Brandon, do like 3,000, right?
Right, I've seen that too. Yeah.
As example, go ahead and repeat that, Brandon.
So you would say. So they would say, climb and maintain. Well, I'll just give a different number. Climb and maintain 8,000. Expect flight level 320 10 minutes after departure. Departure frequency is, let's say, 123.4. Squawk code is 2660.
Wait, cursor.
So you would basically key up and repeat that information back to them, is what you would do.
And they're going to come up and they're going to say, read back correct. Now,
read back correct.
They might also key back up and tell you what you did wrong. Not to be jerks to you, but it's educational. They might key back up and say, you didn't give squawk code, or you didn't say.
Right, and I missed that.
That they might say, well, you didn't repeat that you're going to be, Julia Bravo, whatever. Like you have Julia or whatever. If you miss something, what I'm saying is they're going to tell you, and you're going to have to read it back again.
Oh, yeah.
So, the key thing is just try to listen to them the best you can. And, it's okay to have them repeat. Not 8 or 9 times, but, 1 or 2 times, that's okay.
Yeah, a common thing that I get when I'm on VATSIM is you said that out of order.
Nashville, Tennessee,
I've
United
never
States,
gotten
5.9
that.
nautical miles.
Yep. They'll say you'll say that out of order because they may say something like clear to Miami. Climb and maintain 5,000 feet. Expect flight level 330. 10 minutes after departure. Departure frequency stays with me. Runway 15
Right.
left. Stand by. And then they might come back and say squawk code 6210. So when they do that, I might screw something up and say the frequency after the squawk code. And they may come back and say that's right, but you switched your frequency
Squawk
and
code and
your
frequency.
squawk code around the wrong way.
Yeah. Now, another.
And they would send me a private text message and say, they would send me a private text message and they would say, repeat it again.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're willing to work with you, but you can't be like 25 times trying to get it right.
Yeah. Don't be all over the.
I've-
Don't be all over
I've-
the map with it. You know.
You know, and I was going to
They
say,
also-
I've actually had it sometimes where if I didn't remember, I would repeat the gist of it in shorthand, so I got most of the information I needed to them, and they would say, read back correct. I've done that, too.
Yeah.
The
As
other
long
thing you
as
can
long as
do
you're
is
getting
if they
them the
give it-
main information.
If you have trouble, you can also ask them to private message you the clearance. That way you have it in writing, and then you could put it in whatever format and notepad you want, and you could just read down the list. As long as it's in the order that they stated it in, whatever you write on the back end of things to remember it is good.
Yeah. Now, we're going to talk about
And
something
if
else.
you remember everything except...
Go ahead.
Well, if you remember everything except, say, the squawk code or the frequency, then you write the squawk code and the frequency down, because it's two things you might forget.
I
But-
always wrote everything down. It's just something I still write things down. That way I know I'm not going to fluff up on it. The other thing that's important is you got to get to the runway first. Okay, you got to get to the runway first of all. So that means you're going to let them know, Delta 118 ready to for whatever runway you're trying to move to, or basically you got to let them know that you're ready to get moved to a runway, and they're going to tell you what runway they want you at. Now, if you've got a runway on your flight plan, let's say runway 20C, 20 center, you can come on and say, BVI 118, ready to go to runway 20C. They're going to come back and tell you to go ahead, or they're going to come back and tell you runway's not available, or they might come back and say, well, it's going to be about 10 minutes before I can get you out there.
Right, and I've had all three of those scenarios.
I have two. I've waited at a gate for up to almost an hour before.
So have I.
Was it you, John, where you were somewhere, I don't remember, and you were set up for a particular runway, they told you to take something else because there was a there was a damaged aircraft sitting on the runway?
Oh yeah, I had to.
And it blew a tire.
The plane landed, and on landing, blew a tire on landing. So there went that runway, because for me to get to that runway, I would have had to cross over where that plane basically was, I guess. Whatever the case was, they told me, runway 13 is not available. We're going to need to, have you wait 10 minutes and go to runway 33. And I'm like, okay, that's the first. I've never had to wait because of a plane having problems on landing, but I did that day. Now let's talk about something else here that has been a question too, and that's pushback. Yes, you're allowed to do pushback. I mean, that's what you do. That's what
National
pilots
Tennessee, United
do.
States,
They
5.9
do
nautical miles, 290.
pushback. Do not start out at the gate, and soon as you get to the gate, fire your jet up. Don't do that. I'm telling you, do not do that. I would, I would honestly ask before you do something like that, that you're ready to, uh, don't just fire up your jet, because some ATC, some of them might not like you doing that, because technically you should be pushing back and then starting up your jet. Okay? Any thoughts on
Right.
that, you guys?
No, I agree on that. Definitely ask
I mean, it's
before you
just
do
it's a
anything.
realism thing. You know, I think
And
it's I
Vatsim's
think
not
it's
going to
ultimately
care one
agreement.
way or the other.
Yeah.
They're not
I've
going to
seen-
care.
Oh, I've seen some that do.
Well, they don't.
That's not true.
They don't.
I've been
I mean, they
told-
don't
I've
care.
seen pilots.
I've been
I've seen
told not
pilots
to-
care.
That's not true, you guys. There are certain countries that you fly from.
You have
Okay,
to
yeah. Okay, certain countries you're required to request pushback, but in the United States, if you start your engines up at the gate before you do a pushback, the controller's not going to know that
Well,
you
no,
did that.
no, they're.
I mean, it's a realism thing, so they don't care how you push back as long as you can push back the right way.
well, yeah,
I mean,
but
if they
but
tell you push back the taxiway queue, then you either tell them I can't because I can't see it, or you tell them okay I will and then go do it.
well, if they're gonna go off of like the whole
But-
simulated thing, then pushing back is something you would request. So that's going to be up to you how you do
Yeah,
it.
in the United States they don't really care. I've had most of them tell me ground control would say after we've done our clearance exchange, they would say something similar to they would say something similar to let me know when you're ready to taxi to the runway.
Yeah, and I mean,
So then if it's unclear whether you should be doing pushback and startup, then you can ask them, should I do pushback and startup? And they'll say yes or no.
that's what I do. I
until
always
you get the hang of it. And
I check with ATC about my startup if I feel like I'm wanting to start up ahead of time. I'll at least let them know, hey, I'm gonna push back from, gate 3 alpha, and
Right.
so I'll let them know at least what I'm doing. I don't necessarily ask them. I just let them know that, hey, I'm going to be pushing back, and I'm going to be getting things started
yeah.
and getting things ready for taxi.
Well, it's a good thing
And
to do that just for
generally-
courtesy
Generally,
reasons.
they're going to come back and say, okay, let us know when you're ready to taxi. I've never had one say, no, don't start your engines. Now, again, you need to be conscious about this, because if you're in some of these other countries, they are against it, and they will say something.
Oh yeah, the UK
100%,
especially.
they will say something to you if you push back and you've not requested it, and you've not mentioned it. They will say something to you.
Yep.
99% of the time, I do believe.
Yep.
So, if you're
Usually,
not sure,
and
ask.
No, I did. Yep. So if you just even call in and say something like American 512 ready for pushback, they come back standby. Pushback isn't approved because you have United 16 sitting right behind your butt, unless you want them to take a ride with you. Extra commentary.
I
but
would
the
always.
point was, is United 16 was right behind me.
Yeah, and that's why even in America, I check. I'll at least say, hey, this is BBI 2112, getting ready for pushback, gate 13B. That way, if there is someone behind me, AGT can be like, buddy, you can't push back, because
You might want to wait.
we've got a jet getting ready to come out to taxi, or,
Yep.
So it's not really that you
Other thing
can't.
to consider
It's
is
just consider, what the odds are.
It's just It's
Wow.
just courtesy
Nashville, Tennessee,
to
United States.
ask.
5.9
The
nautical
other
miles,
thing to
295
think
degrees.
about too is that is live traffic from other users. It is not AI. So we may have damages turned off. United 16 might have damages turned on. So if I full back up out of there with United 16 sitting behind me, they're going to lose their flight because I crashed into them. And I can just back up and go through them
Yeah,
like a
yeah,
ghost
yeah. Be like
and continue on my
their
way
plane's in
with
like a
nothing
third
going.
dimension. You just go right through them.
Yeah.
Yep. But they keep that in mind. They're not AI aircraft. You know, generally, if you have AI aircraft, who really cares if you fly through them? You know, it doesn't really
Exactly.
matter. But
All right, so
if
I'm
it's
going to
on
go
vatsim, those
to
are real people. So,
a topic that is touchy in so many ways, but I'm just going to tell you the
oh
bluntness
boy.
of it, and I'm going to tell you how I do it, and that you should probably try to follow at least the gist of this. When I go do a flight, the first thing I do is check to see if ATC is on.
Yep.
If I don't see nobody on that, and I'll wait. I'll check it and I'll wait about 2 minutes. Go through some stuff on my plane. I'll check it again. If I don't see anybody, I'm getting set up for Unicom. I'm
Yep.
not going to load 4 different programs to check.
Just
check.
to see if there's
I'm
control
not going
on.
to do that. It should show up on the vatsim. There's no reason why it wouldn't. What I will
I know.
tell you, I have had, in the past, I've had ATC come on after I'm done in the air. No,
Yep.
they wasn't already on. They just came on.
They came.
Literally,
They came on after you
I'm
took
at
off.
10,000 feet. ATC comes on. They tell me to come back around and land. I wasn't given clearance to take off. I tell them this. No one was here when I went and did my pushback and reposition to the runway. I checked again. Nobody was still there. I took off
And I took
and
off.
set up for Unicom. Sorry that I
Yep.
didn't see you sooner, but you wasn't here when I took off. And I'll leave it at that. If they really was, you're probably going to have a supervisor come and talk to you. And that's when you explain to them the situation. And
Yep.
99% of the time, it's not a big deal. Now,
I remember the flight that you had that happen, and you
If
had
you-
a supervisor right behind you and
Yeah.
taking off, and you had a controller
if you
try
load
that.
vatsim and you don't check it, okay, you don't look at it, you just load it, load your flight plan,
Well, and that is
set
on-
up your stuff, and
on
just
you.
take off, then that's
That
on
is
you.
on you.
You should not do that. Always. I don't care the
Always
situation.
check.
I don't care if you've only got 5 minutes before you can take off. I don't care if you're late, an hour late, 10 hours late. I don't care that if you don't get on the runway and in the air in the next 20 minutes, you're going to lose that flight. I don't care. You check your window and make sure that there's ATC available. If you don't, then it's going to be your fault all the way
Yep.
around. Nothing will
Exactly.
be in your corner when you have a supervisor getting onto you. Okay? To make sure you check. It's super
I always
important.
triple check.
And then next you're going to take off. You're going to, but I always take off and then I come back and say, such and such clear, runway 32 left, have a good evening, Miami. And then I'm going to follow the rest of my flight plan Um,
Nashville, Tennessee, United
when
States,
it's time for
5.9.
you to change frequencies, you should hear from somebody. All right.
Yep.
They're going to tell you. Let's say you're flying to Indianapolis. Well, when you get out of, let's say, Miami's flight zone, Atlanta might pick you up. And they're not going to land you, but they're gonna be with you for a certain amount of time. So then you need to switch to their frequency. Don't ignore the other airports that you fly over. Make sure you pay attention to your vatsim. Make sure that you're staying on the frequency you're supposed to be on. And then that way, when you do get to Indianapolis, for example, Atlanta would hand you over to Indianapolis. They'll say, in 200 miles, we're going to hand you over to,
Indianapolis Center.
Indianapolis Center. And they'll give you the frequency and they'll tell you to switch. You'll read that back to them. Okay? They're going to give you the frequency and the squawk. I think Indianapolis will give you a new squawk code, actually. So,
Yeah, they do.
you'll change the frequency. And
Yeah, if
Indianapolis
there's
will
a
come
need
on.
for
They're
it.
going to say, okay, squawk code, blah, 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 flight level, whatever. So just stay with that information, you guys. Don't ignore it.
You have to report in, so once they hand you over, so if Atlanta hands you over to Cleveland, then once you say frequency change approved, Cleveland Center 128.9, have a nice day, you switch over to that frequency. Once
Yep,
you
and
know
then
you've got
you would let
Cleveland
them know
Center,
you're in their flight
then you
zone.
would say something like Cleveland Center American 512 with you at flight level 330.
And then they're going to give you either a new
And they
altitude
might
or
say
same
squawk or say
altitude
Mach or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, if there's nothing on, they'll just say
Switch over to
Um,
Unicom.
well, if
Well, not
everything is
Unicom.
okay with them,
You're
they'll
on,
just say,
you're on ATC with them. You wouldn't be on Unicom.
Oh, right.
yeah. So like if Cleveland comes on, like you give them all that and they'll say something like identified.
Yeah, so you just follow that information. I always,
Best thing to do, pick a busy airport and listen.
yeah, for
You
practice.
just
And that's what last thing I was
Yeah.
going to tell you guys.
go in.
Go to VatSim, connect as an observer. You could even
Yep.
fly if you wanted to. Maybe someone's getting ready to take off. You can fly with them, as long as you're connected as an observer. But I'd just stay there and listen to listen to them talk. It's going to help you out a lot. So,
Two
again,
important things we forgot though.
ultimate point here, and then I'll get to you, Andy, is check to see if there's ATC on. Doesn't mean you got to load 5 different windows to look for them. If they're not showing up on VatSim, that is the program that you use. That's the program you should see them on. If you make a mistake because your program messed up, I'm sure they're going to understand. But if you take off and then ATC comes on after the fact, that's on them, not you. Okay?
Yep.
You do
At
not
TPV
got to
weather
turn
updated.
around
Proposed
and come
textual
back
for
and
KPMA wind
land
180 at 12 knots visibility. 10
and then
plus FM,
take off
99
again.
plus M. Clouds scattered at 6,000 feet temperature.
No
31.0
way.
C super,
Yeah,
15.0 C precipitation.
I remember the one time that happened to you at LAX, and you had a supervisor right behind you, and they got after that controller for doing that.
Yeah, because it's not fair for the ATC to be like, oh, I'm gonna give them a hard time. Here we are, we're at 14,000 feet, and you got ATC saying, oh well, I just came on, you didn't get clearance, turn back around and come and do it again. I don't think so, bud. That's not in my that's not part of my flight plan. So Anyway, just keep that in mind. And then, Andy, what do you got? What did we forget?
Something that's really important is your transponder. Um, two buttons, ident and mode C.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you don't press
I'm
those,
going to let you explain those. While you're doing that, I'm going to do something here real quick. So go ahead.
so the ident and mode C button, ident gives them your transponder signal so they can tell who you are. And mode C, commonly known as mode Charlie, lets them be able to track you on their radar, even when you're on the ground. Is mainly what it's for. Ident is usually for the air, and mode C is usually for the ground. But once you start up and start your push back, I would press the mode C button. And be safe, press the ident button so they can find you on the radar. Because if you don't, even if you change the transponder codes, they're not going to know you exist. So, that's what I would do before you put any squat codes in there.
Mm-hmm.
I had that happen in Atlanta. I go into Atlanta, and I never got any request, like private message saying transfer over to this frequency. Entered into Atlanta's airspace, and I flipped over to the frequency and said, "Hey guys,
Did you explain to them
do you
what the
need me to
ident
do
is?
anything or?"
Like what exactly what that is?
Yeah, ident is basic. Yeah,
Okay.
but I had this time, and this is why it's important, because I had this time where I would put in all the frequencies that I needed to, did everything right. My departing airport could see me and find me because I put the squat code in.
Right.
When I head over into Atlanta's airspace, they didn't even know I existed. Couldn't find me on the radar or anything because I did not press the mode C button when I first took off.
Okay, but
So,
in the vatsim settings, you can set that to automatically go off when you take off.
yeah.
It doesn't work all the time.
Yeah.
So, don't come back and be like, oh,
Nope.
well, it was in my setting. It should have did it. Okay, maybe it was. Maybe it should have. It didn't. Just hit the button. Okay? Just hit it.
Yeah.
No big deal. No big deal.
Yep. I press both of them just to be safe when I take off. So like when I'm on the ground, I'll press the mode C button because that lets them track you on the radar while you're on the ground. But
Yeah.
when I take off, I'll press the ident and mode C buttons just in case. I mean, if they're already on, it doesn't hurt nothing. If they're off, well then there's your ticket because they're going to need
I
that in
remember
order
when
to
I
track you on
first-
But if you
radar.
hit it again,
I remember when I
when in the air, though, it's going to turn it off, don't it? How are you going to know if it's on or off?
No, because mode C is just a button that you press. If you press it, it's one of those momentary buttons. You push it and then it
Oh.
pops back out again.
Okay, same thing with the ident.
Same thing with the ident. If you press it, then it'll pop back out again when you let go of it. So basically, all they do is they send out a signal, a temporary signal, so they can
Gotcha.
locate you on radar.
Lockheed Martin registered 3 part 3D
Okay.
registered V4.
It's funny, speaking of ident, I remember the first time the controller asked me for that. I had to ask somebody, I was like, what does that mean? What do they want me to do? And they're like, oh, hit your ident button on VPilot.
I mean, if you look at the way it's spelled, ident, think of identification.
Right.
Or identify.
Yeah,
It's identifying.
that's basically what it does. Is it
Yeah.
sends? Yeah, you're sending out your airplane's call sign and all that kind
Right.
of
Yep.
stuff.
Like I said, make sure you guys, follow these simple things that we've given you. You can go back. You'll find other videos that we've done on vatsim.
Nashville, Tennessee,
It's going
United
to be
States,
back quite a
5.9 miles.
bit. But I'm sure if you put in BBI pilots, vatsim in the search, you'll find the videos that
Yeah.
that have that. I wanted to do the video just to be clear on ATC, and making sure that you look for them. Look, I don't believe you should run 4 different programs to make sure they're on. I don't
You shouldn't have to.
I don't think that that's the case, because vatsim should show you them if they're on. And if not, just wait a few minutes. I always wait. I've got a rule of thumb that for 3 minutes I will sit there when I first load it to make sure. And after 3 minutes I still don't see anybody, well, then I'm going to know. I'm not going to go through the whole...
Well, what I do...
Yeah.
But what I do is I'll come on, see if anybody's on. If they're not on, I will start FMC setup. Once I get ready for pre-flight, I'll check again. If there's someone on, I'll get a hold of them. If they're not on, then I'll do pre-flight. And after pre-flight, I'll check again. If there's no one on, okay, then I will do before start.
Yeah, you're just checking as you're going through the process of getting
I'm
your
done,
flight
You're
set
just
up.
going.
Yeah. Once I'm done, once I'm committed to pushback, right before I start doing pushback, I'll check again. And if nobody's on, then I'll just push back and go. Once I get to the runway, I'll check again. Once I get done with all of my takeoff checklists and all that jazz, I'll check.
The last
I
time
don't see
that I
nothing
check,
by the time.
the last time I check is when
Yeah, last time I
do my
checked is on
pushback.
old.
I do my pushback, and right before I do my taxi checklist, I'll check again. If no one is there when I do my taxi checklist, because I've already pushed back, I've already checked before that, I'm checking again. No one's there when I do my taxi checklist, I'm going to the runway and I'm taking off.
Yep.
I mean, like you said, Andy, you can only check so many times in between setting up your aircraft and taking off. And rule of thumb, if they come on after you've lifted your tires, you do not got to land again. There's no rule on that.
No, and you shouldn't.
I usually would say after rotate. Once you hit and rotate in V2, if they're not on,
yeah, once your tires
once you
came
get
up
your
off the
after
ground,
takeoff
that's
checklist done.
yeah.
Yep. But I'd say once I'm committed to takeoff, if they're not there, I'm gone.
Yeah, exactly. So
And there's nothing they can do about it.
just
when
kind
they
of
come
follow
on if
what
you're-
we've talked
when you're in
about,
the
you
air.
guys, and kind of stick to that. Again, I wanted to come on, share that with you.
Profile, untitled scene.
If you've got more questions, leave them in the comments section, and we'll try to answer your questions on the next video that we do. But I'm getting ready to do a flight from goodness, I'm in Nashville, Tennessee.
Nashville.
Yeah, Nashville. I'm going from Nashville to JFK, so we're gonna get out of here so I can get this flight done. Because my next flight's gonna be a very long flight in a 7-4. So, yeah, should be a lot of fun. I think Andy's got a long flight he's getting ready to do too. So,
Yep.
but anyway, guys, we appreciate all of you. Those that joined us here on the video, I appreciate it. And until next time, just go and practice. Listen to the communications on vatsim, connected to the observer, and you'll get the idea. It's not that bad. It really isn't. So until next time, keep blue skies up. And of course, if you don't, well, I've said it once, I've said it twice, even 3 times. If the skies are down, Houston, we got a problem. See ya.